Hey guys, it's Christiana and I'll be showing you why priming your rock is so important. I'll be splitting this rock into 3 sections. This section will have 2 layers of white paint, this section will have 1 layer, and this section will have no paint at all. Alright, so I'm going to get to painting the layers of my prime. Priming basically means that you're putting an undercoat beneath the layers of your paint. As the video goes on, you'll see why this will help your colors pop when you begin with a solid white undercoat. I'm going to be careful not to put a thick layer of paint on my rock to keep it from taking a long time to dry. A thick layer of paint is only going to be more of a hurdle for you. I would suggest doing a thin layer because you can always go back and add another layer if it's not enough for you. A thin layer will do just fine and will have enough distinction for you to see why priming is a must. Now that I've finished the prime on my rock, you can see that I've got 2 layers, 1 layer, then no layers, so this section will be blank. Now I'm going to paint stripes of different colors on my rock. Up here I'm going to start with red, and down here I'll end in purple. In between I'll be doing the different colors of the rainbow to try and cover all my bases. I think these are good color choices because these are going to be mostly what you're going to be using when you're painting rocks. So as you can see now, I'm painting with red. And so you can see on the left how much different it is from the right. Then I'm going to move on to yellow. Yellow might be the easiest color to tell why priming is one of the most important things to do when you're painting rocks, because it is such a light color. Without the prime, it becomes extremely dull. Orange will also do something similar, as you'll be able to see here. Orange has a similar tone to yellow, so it's going to come out relatively the same. I'm going to skip ahead now once I finish this orange line, otherwise I think it'll get quite repetitive. We'll talk about all the other colors once they've dried, since it'll be easier to tell the differences in the levels of priming that I've done. Each color line I've painted has dried, so now we can examine the differences between the layers of white prime. I'll zoom in a little bit to give you the best look that I can. To reiterate, there's 2 layers of prime here, 1 layer here, and none here, which is just the plain rock. We've already gone over the red a little bit, but out of the 3 choices here, I'd definitely say the double layer looks the best. However, it might even need a second coat of red, and that's okay. No prime leaves it very dull. The yellow looks perfect with the double layer of prime, whereas it doesn't get the same effect in either of these 2 instances. Now the orange might also need a second layer, since it's kind of similar to how the red turned out, but it definitely looks better on the left when in comparison to these 2. Surprisingly, the green came out the worst in my opinion, which might even be the fault of myself. I may have painted it too thin, which is okay. We can always go back and paint over things, which is one of the beauties of this kind of art. However, comparing what I have here, the double prime is the best. Now, I used a lighter blue as opposed to darker blue for this line, because I think that my point will come across more clearly with the lighter blue. The single layer of prime makes the blue lose its brightness, and the plain rock strips the light blue of all of the pop of color. Then, moving on to the purple, it'll definitely need a second coat, which, like the green line, could be a fault of my own, but it definitely shows up better with the double layer of prime. Now you can take a look at the rock as a whole and make judgments for yourself based on what I've given you here. You can even try this experiment at home to see what I mean. The clear outcome I see is that priming is absolutely necessary, and this is why you will see me paint with white before I start adding in my colors. The worst thing about painting is having your colors come off dull, so the easy fix is using white to brighten them all up. I hope you've enjoyed my video on why priming your rock before painting is very important. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next week for another video.